Hey everyone, Robin Stoltman here. Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind. I just got done with an amazing meeting earlier here in just like literally a few minutes ago. I just got done with a meeting, so I don't have all my stuff together yet. You may have noticed that I took and posted about what I'm going to be talking about, like with the trauma, like everything that I've been dealing with. And initially, like I said, it was because I got triggered with my own PTSD. Because like I said, I've gone through like 43 different traumas. So I haven't done work on all of it yet. I'm in that process. But if you can imagine a person that comes to me for therapy, especially if it's trauma related, just one, typically it takes 6 months just working on that trauma, trying to move past it, trying to do different things, especially if it's like sexual trauma, because that is one of more of the trickier traumas to treat because we still have to have sex in order to stay alive. Well, basically to procreate. So in my life, the whole point is not to sit here and downrank traditional therapy, even though we know that it doesn't work, because I've talked to a lot of people who agree with me. And by a lot of people, I mean more than two people. I've talked to a crap load of people that understand, and they know exactly what it is that I'm talking about as to why it doesn't work. Okay. And I feel bad for them because the people that are doing the traditional stuff, because they don't understand that their tools, yes, they use CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. I know how to use it. I do it in a more effective form as far as having you find the good evidence throughout your life of when are you having these emotions? Why are you reacting this way like in the morning? Why is it throughout the rest of the day you're not having that same anger reaction, or what happened before you had an event occur that all of a sudden you're like, I can't do this anymore. So that is part of what it is that good evidence out of the cognitive behavioral therapy does. So most therapists, they do have the CBT, the cognitive behavioral therapy. Not all of them do that. They mostly show you how to stay stuck because they didn't learn how to get you unstuck. And so that furthers the cycle of how we do things, okay? So what I'm going to be explaining in my, like I said, is not to say anything necessarily bad about these other groups of people of how they learned things. It's just to say, hey, I know more than they do, yes, because of the college that I went to, yes. So there's no different than most hypnotists or hypnotherapists out there. If they did not attend a college for hypnotherapy, if they don't have their diploma in hypnotherapy, they do not have the amount of credibility that I do. I went to the nation's only accredited college of hypnotherapy out of Tarzana, California. That's where I got my education. From there, I have 16 certifications in the same realm. I'm still working on more as always because I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly wanting to find new ways, not just to understand myself, but to help more people. That's why I decided to add the John Maxwell training into what it is that I'm already doing. That's why I just add, these different aspects of using and learning the release technique, using these different tools, because I use them on myself. Then I know that I can get results with other people. So one of the things I mentioned was that earlier this week, when I had that PTSD trigger with the mask, what triggered me in that moment, I did my live. You can go back and watch that. And when I did that live, again, I watched a little bit. I couldn't watch the whole thing myself personally because it brings up the memory for me again. But not only that, it's at that moment, there's so many people saying, well, I don't understand why people don't want to wear masks. I don't understand why people don't want to do it for the greater good. You got to realize people that did it for the greater good did that too during World War II. And that's why we ended up killing 6 million people through a major genocide that we've ever seen when they did things for the greater good. You got to remember that. Our traumas come back generations from our families not dealing with them because they didn't know. They didn't understand that we have to heal our own trauma. And so that's where the traditional therapy does miss. What they do is they go based on a model out of Virginia Satir. It's called, I'm trying to remember, it's not the Milton model. It's, got the other model name, sorry. I'm trying to remember. Anyways, Virginia Satir is the one that has the social work model. So that's where they're going to ask you more questions of, well, when you do that, why does it feel that way? And when it feels that way, why is it that when you have that happen, what more about it? Can you tell me more about it? What they're doing is they're using Virginia Satir's model of asking more questions, trying to uncover how you're doing the problem by getting more specific, okay? That's the Virginia Satir model. That's what traditional therapists use. They know that model. They don't know the Milton Erickson model of where you generalize. Well, everybody has some sort of trauma. Everybody's had that same experience too. Everybody knows that if we use a mask, it's supposed to help us, but not everybody understands that certain people have trauma, such as being suffocated while their body was being abused sexually. Not everybody has had that trauma where they're trying to break free from a person raping their body, and they're fighting that person off, using every last breath that they've got while there's a pillow suffocating them. So when you say that that person is being disrespectful and they don't care about what's going on with different things in the world, what you're really saying is that you're not wanting to take the time to understand that that other person has a trauma that you know nothing about. And you don't care to know that, because if you did care to know that, you would understand, as a caring, loving person that I know you are, that not everybody has to have the same viewpoints as you. Am I correct? The answer is yes, I am correct, because that's where the fighting is occurring. So what's happening is that this is the power and control cycle that we find ourselves in, okay? We all know that when it comes to any type of situation where it involves coercion, where you use threats, you coerce somebody into doing something that you want them to do for the greater good by making and or carrying out threats to do something to hurt someone or take away their job. That's financial exploitation. When you sit there and say, well, I'm going to take away your job if you don't do what I want you to do. That's called financial exploitation, okay? So what happens is, if I don't want you to do something, and I sit here and say, well, if you don't do what I want you to do, then that's considered abuse. Well, I'll back it up here a little bit easier for you to understand. So let's see. The power and control. That's where all abuse starts, is really it's the power and control. And when you get a deeper level of that power and control, why another person has that need or want to control another person, it's because of their own stuff that they haven't dealt with. So in my case with the PTSD trigger, okay, when I had that happen, I said, I hate people that want to push this mask thing, which is true to a certain extent. I don't like when I'm being forced to do something I don't want to do. That falls under the power and control cycle of abuse. That also falls into using coercion and threats. So if I don't do something that somebody wants me to do for their protection, what you're telling me is that you don't care about me and my view of things. And that's where things get deleted and distorted, okay? So when you're taking away my freedom because you don't even want to take the time to understand why I have this PTSD from wearing a mask. When you're not wanting to take that time to understand me, right away, I got cognitive dissonance coming up as a normal person, not a person that's just saying because I don't want to listen. I understand both sides. So that's why I'm explaining this. You're not wanting to understand my side. I don't care about your side because you didn't care to understand that I've got PTSD from being suffocated. I was literally fighting for my life, but yet you want me to wear one of them damn diaper rigs over my face because you failed to understand my side of it. And then you say that I don't care about you. I see you as a person that's not caring about me or my body or what happened to my body. That's what I see. So when we have these two sides fighting, that leads to anger, it leads to shame, it leads to a lot of different things. And we're constantly fighting each other on these different things that if we choose to heal from within, instead of saying that other person just doesn't care, they don't care about me. They're rude, they're disrespectful, they're this, they're that. But if we boil down to it, what's the cause? Why does this person have this issue? It's like our weight, okay? I hold on to my weight and I'm fine with holding on to it, not just because I've been pregnant since like 2013, but I'm also fine with it because when I was skinnier, that's when more trauma happened to me. However, that was a protective way to protect myself from being hurt. At the same time, that belief system that I need to hold on to this weight no longer serves me, which is why I did not do a group weight loss. Like we talk about our problems in our group weight loss course. That is not the point of it. And I'm not going to do that because I know that group hypnosis does not work, period. Which is why I didn't offer a group hypnosis for smoking, why I don't offer group hypnosis for weight loss. The group part of it is learning together what steps to take to help eliminate cravings, because that is something I can do as a group. We can learn that as a group. We can learn about changing our eating habits in a healthy way that'll increase our vibrational energy, that'll help bring more abundance, help bring that fat burning to go on in our body. Then you add the one-on-one with me so that you get that personalized, okay, now I understand why it is I don't want to lose weight, why I struggle. And then you get that help in between time. So as I'm holding this cycle up, you can see a lot of things that are going on in our society. And if you can't see a lot of things that are going on in the society, then that says a lot, but you don't understand about the power and the control cycle. Because this is something that all people learn when they either get into trouble legally, like the sex offender system. That's why they fail. That's why they go out and repeat the same crime, is because the system, just like traditional therapy, does not deal with the root cause of why you have this problem. They don't teach you to deal with your emotions. They don't teach you how to take and say, hey, I'm feeling disappointment, and that's okay. They don't tell you that it's okay to feel disappointment and that if you feel it for a little bit, it's not going to kill you. What it does is when you feel that disappointment or you feel that shame for being violated, what happens is when you allow yourself to feel it, it doesn't feel good. But if you don't allow yourself to express it in a healthy form of just feeling that shame, of not being good enough, not being worthy, not whatever is going on in your body, for being a mistake, if you don't allow yourself to feel that shame, it starts to go into your life of no matter what job you have, you're not good enough. Your amount of kids you've got, what you're doing as a parent isn't good enough. And then you push that onto your children. So one of my thoughts was this morning was, okay, I had my PTSD act up, like since this ordeal happened. And I thought to myself, this is not helping my children. The fact that I've got all boys, except for the one girl, they're seeing mommy not really wanting to touch them, not really wanting to hug them this morning. I just really wanted them to be away from me. That's not helpful to them because they don't understand that mommy went through a lot of stuff before they even were born. So they don't know that mommy had this happen. So for them to try to understand, they don't need to know that I went through this stuff. They don't need to know about all the hurt that I dealt with. They don't need to know about the trauma in their world that's going on. They don't need to know that. All they need to know is that mommy is happy, healthy, and working on the wealthy part for us to have the better life that we know that we deserve. Because I know we do. That's what the kids do need to know. What they don't need is for mommy to be angry, upset, or any of these emotions, which they didn't experience that because I make sure that I don't do that in front of the kids the best I can, because it's not for them to take. Their problems are not mine. No, my problems are not for them to take. Just straight out. Typing my information in here. It's not for them to take. So when you're yelling at your kids and you're telling them you're a bad girl or a naughty girl for doing this or that, you get that from your parents because they did that to you. They shamed you into doing the behaviors that they wanted you to do. And it's because they learned from their parents, okay? So my whole point of talking about this trauma is to say, hey, I understand how the trauma cycle works. I've been there, I've done that. I've learned it. I've experienced it myself. So what happens in this power and control cycle, that's literally a cycle that keeps going around and round and round in circles. So what happened is that when I felt intimidated, where I had to wear that mask, they didn't care that I had this horrible experience. This is why I'm not afraid to die, because I literally thought I was dying and I've already experienced death. So I'm not afraid to die. I'm not. Most people are. They have that fear. So that's one of the things that I was dealing with, okay, was that I had to have it over my nose or I had to leave, okay? So it was a threat. If I don't do what that person said, then I had to leave, okay? So there's also ways of using emotional abuse where you make a person feel guilty. That happens a lot. Well, you don't want to wear a mask, so you don't care about anybody else. That's making a person feel guilty, like they made a mistake. And that's not okay either. Because anytime you do that, you're creating more hurt to another person. That's creating emotional abuse. So then the isolation, well, if you don't like people like me that are unjabbed and don't want to have the masks, then I have to stay home. No, it should be the other way around. You should be home if you're so scared of getting sick, because that has nothing to do with me. That has to do with your fear of what's going on. And so where this comes into the trauma play is what I'm trying to give is two different sides of what it is that I see with the trauma that's going on. I could go into further detail about how this happens, where where it's getting minimized. Oh, it's not that bad. Just wear one. You know, you can deny and blame, where you're sitting there saying, well, if you don't wear one, then it's not helping you. And, you're not helping other people. And then you use the children. Well, the children, you're not caring about the children if you don't wear one. You don't care about the children because, well, we need our children to stay safe, which I agree. Children do need to stay safe. However, we also can't abuse them by saying that if they don't wear something, because us adults are too damn scared to deal with our problems of why we have that fear of being sick, then why are you a parent is my question back to you. Because if you're living in fear all the time of the what if parenting, oh my God, let's not go there. The what if parenting creates trauma because then you're teaching your child to constantly live in fear. What if you get hurt? What if you get hurt? Okay, but what happens if you don't get hurt and it works out? What happens? This is where you get the fear of failure and success, by the way. What happens if you decide to make things work? What happens if you decide that in this fear of, well, what if I get hurt from going to this person's house? then that's going to constantly bring up that fear into your adult life of, well, what happens if I don't do what another person says to do? Then I could get hurt, is what it constantly brings. So then you're bringing in that trauma cycle, that victim mentality into your adulthood, and you pass it on to the next generation, is what happens. Okay. And then what happens is you have to quit your job, because if you're not willing to get the jab, if you're not willing to wear that mask, then you have to quit your job because you're taking away that money. It's called financial exploitation is what it's technically called. Because anytime you're taking away somebody's money, it's economic abuse, because they didn't want to do something you didn't want them to do. It's called economic abuse. So while this says physical, violent, sexual, it's about power and control, this is exactly what's happening in society right now. So you're wondering, what does this have to do with my PTSD when that got triggered? It has everything to do with it. See, when that happened to me, I went into this cycle. I literally go into this cycle of violence, is what it's called. When we go into this cycle, it goes into phase 1, where tension building, stress, frustration, low self-esteem, poor communication. That's what happened, this poor communication. They didn't want to take the time to understand where I was coming from. They didn't want to take the time of what was going on. So when this trauma happened, not just the mask part, I'm not talking about that necessarily the whole time here. What I'm talking about is that when that happened to me, when I remember suffocating while my body was whatever there, what happened is, in that moment, my fight or flight response kicks in. Remember I said about the fight or flight response, okay? Quick diagram I should have here, yes. So this is a quick diagram. This is the iceberg, okay? Most people are familiar with this. You don't see 95% of what I'm dealing with. You yourself don't even see the 95% of what you're dealing with on a daily basis, of why you've got these problems. Traditional therapy doesn't deal with this it does with your beliefs, but they don't know how to change them. I do. I know how to get you out of that cycle. I know how to help you get creative, how to help the developmental stages, because when you miss one stage of your development, there's 8 stages of development. If you miss one, it throws it all off. Like in the 80s, I guess, parents were taught that just let your kids cry. We know now that if you just teach your kids, just let them cry for the first year of their life, and you don't go help them right away, or you do like the Sperber method where you just let the kids cry themselves asleep, what it does is it creates that trauma and it gets trapped in the body. So then the child doesn't trust you, is what happens. So then it stays in the subconscious mind. And then as an adult, you're wondering why you can't trust people, why you don't trust people in authority. You didn't remember that your parents left you in a crib just to sit there and cry yourself to sleep. You don't know that. Your subconscious mind does. So that's why you've got that problem. And it's that cycle that pops up, that cycle of the trauma, of the abuse. And in that, you get that tension building, that stress of nobody's coming to help me. Nobody's coming to help me. Okay? This applies to everything, not just PTSD. Nobody's coming to help me. The mind starts to say, okay, nobody's coming to help me. What can I do? What can I do? If you're not shaking it off, that's why animals shake off after they get something that happens, like another animal's attacking them. That's why they shake it off, because that's literally the only way that the animal and us people, the animal part of us, knows how to release that trauma, is to get it unstuck from the energy system. Because if it does not get unstuck, it ends up like your poop. If you don't let it go, if you don't poop, you will die. If you don't pee, you will die. You will get sepsis, you will die. Our emotions are the exact same way. When we choose not to deal with them, that emotion of shame, anger, guilt, blame, disappointment, hate, all these emotions, they have to go somewhere. So they're going to choose, arthritis, fibromyalgia, cancer, getting stuck in the world, why you can't progress, why you can't do more. It's going to be that phase 2 of this cycle of the fight, the anger, and the fear of, what if this happens again to me? What can I do to protect myself so that this doesn't happen again? So your mind's going to keep focusing on that trauma. It's going to keep focusing on, okay, I had this experience when I weighed 225 or less. When I had that experience, I got hurt. My mind says, okay, whenever I lose weight, I start seeing the numbers go down. I can't do that. That's not okay. Because if I go lower in weight, what happens is that I could get hurt again. This isn't safe. I need something for protection to keep me away from other people. So we keep our weight to protect ourselves from other people. That's why it's so damn hard to lose weight. That's why all the other weight loss programs magically fail. They don't address the emotional part of why you're eating. They don't tell you. I've even been in Weight Watchers. They don't explore the emotional reason why you want to hold on to that weight. And I attended it for like 3 years. Not 3 years, like a year, whatever it was. Long story short, when I lost that 87.5 pounds, I was down to 198 when I got married in 2012. But here's what happened. That weight had to come back. Not even after I had a weight loss surgery, okay? That's why I'm not a fan of weight loss surgeries. Because until you deal with the emotional cause of why you're keeping on that weight, of why you're keeping yourself stuck and why your business isn't progressing, until you deal with that emotional, why you can't bring more money into your life, why you can't have certain things into your life, why life is just like, why is it so chaotic? Why are you creating all this chaos? Until you realize that you are your own creator of the reality in your life. Until you deal with that energy of what happened, until you deal with that, okay, I accept this is what I caused. I accept this is what happened to me unknowingly, that I was attracting more of it because we focused on it. And we weren't aware that we were focused on this stuff. I was not aware that I was focusing when I went into that meeting. I was not aware of what was going on at that moment, that I was remembering being suffocated. I didn't purposely want to remember that. No. I didn't want to sit there and walk in and say, oh, no, I got this trigger that happened. No. The 90% here said, guess what? Sit and spin, buddy. It's time for me to take over. And now let's have some fun with this memory. Let's make it so you can't sleep. Let's take and make it so you have this intrusive memories throughout the day. Let's take and make it so you're constantly in that reaction, fight, 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 fight mode. Let's keep doing that because that's what we did. We had to fight for our right to stay alive. We had to fight off this person as they were taking and sexually abusing you. Let's fight this person off. You're so busy fighting. And the memory gets stuck. Because as I was fighting physically at that time, those memories were being created. They were getting stuck. Traditional therapy didn't help me. 16 years of that bullshit, and it didn't even help me one damn time. Because in talking about that, even now, myself, what happens is my body goes back to the exact same response that I had. I'm talking about the problem, which creates more of the problem, which puts it out into the universe, as people call it for law of attraction. What it tells is that it says, hey, I want to attract more of this trauma right into my life here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's attract more of this trauma. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's attract more trauma. That's exactly the signal that you're sending. So what can you do to correct that? One of the things that I did, and I've been using, is I caught the awareness of what was going on in my body. What am I feeling? Okay, I'm feeling shame. I'm literally feeling so dirty, like I need to shower just to try to get it off of my body. And I was doing that, like, I just feel so gross and nasty. And this is all from wearing that mask. Okay. That sent me into this, you know. So I'm like, my husband came at the office at the right time for me. So I could just hold him. Because I was in that explosion mode right here of the fight, the anger, and the fear of this is happening again. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, everybody's out to get me. Everybody wants this for me. Like, I can't deal with this. That's what happens. So then I went into the, okay, what can I do about this? I did my live because I realize there's so many people that are on this debate about the masks. Oh, why don't anybody want to do that? You're not being respectful. You don't care about other people. Oh, we do our mask because it shows compassion and caring and on all that stuff. Okay, people, I'm just saying, you're not understanding the side of us normal people who went through trauma, who fought to keep their body and their spirit, everything alive. Because I had two choices when that happened. I had the choice. As I was wondering if I was taking my last breaths, I had a choice to keep fighting, which eventually I couldn't fight anymore because I was blacking out. Or I had the choice just to lay there and pretend like I was dead, asking God to keep me alive just long enough, or just allow me to die. When I had that experience. And then you ask me to put on the mask and you tell me that I don't care about other people. I'm sorry, not sorry at all whatsoever. You failed to see it from my perspective. You failed to see the trauma that I went through. You failed to see that I went through 16 years of therapy bullshit and it didn't do a damn thing for me. You failed to see that part of it. You failed me. And reality is that's even blaming other people. What it says is that I'm choosing to give you my power by saying you failed me. Reality is I am the one that's experiencing this. I'm the one that's saying, okay, I'm playing off of this memory that happened. So what can I do about it? I did the live. I educated yesterday about what it is that I've been feeling. I'm educating right now about this trauma, how it got stuck, why it's stuck, what can I do about it? And so then I decided, you know what? I could do what I've always done, which is go talk to a traditional therapist, which I quit doing that. It doesn't do any damn good. I could take and talk to my husband about it because he's the only safe person that I have in my life that I can 100% trust. I could talk to him about it. I could keep praying and asking God like I did the last couple days just to take that memory away so I don't have it anymore. So I don't have to deal with this anymore. Then I decided I could take and with the trauma, I could do something else with it, like keep praying it away, keep, stuffing it down, doing other things instead of dealing with it. But it was gnawing at me of people need to understand what trauma does to a person. It affects every part of your life. And it doesn't matter exactly what the trauma is. I'm just talking about the sexual part here. But it applies to all abuse. All of it does. Because right now, I'm never going to take and go back to that place. That's the honeymoon phase of, I'm never going to do it again, okay? So I'm never going back to that place because the way I was treated, why should I go back to that place? Yeah, I'm currently wondering like how things are going to happen in the business. Yeah, but I value my right to freedom more than I value the money. Again, it goes back to money that I was offered to fill out for the program, having to cover my face. But in order to get the money, I had to come back with the mask on again and cover my face again. I dealt with that as a child. When I kept reporting to social workers, the school, the cops, police reports, they failed to protect me. They were the adults. They were supposed to help me, not me help myself. So when I had that situation happen, it comes down to it was about money when I was a child. That's why I struggle in my adulthood to get money. That's why that struggle is there, because we weren't allowed to feel good, okay? When we felt good, it wasn't allowed. It wasn't okay when I was a kid, which is why I struggled with that. What does this have to do with trauma and breaking the cycle? That's again why I'm stuck. Why I didn't say, hey, I know how to help you get money, because I do. I know how to do that part of the hypnosis. I know how to do that. And then today I was reminded in this wonderful conversation again about how we can only bring somebody as far as what we've been. But then that's also why I'm the best damn therapist there is. That's why I'm the best damn hypnotherapist there is, especially when it comes to trauma. Because I'm not sitting here just talking smoke, talking a bunch of blah, 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 blah. I've actually been there, done that. Okay? How many people here have struggled just to keep themselves alive in a moment as horrendous as what I went through? And then having to take tests just to make sure you didn't have any STDs. I don't, thank God. I'm 100% thankful to God. I don't have any. And at the same time, how many people then afterwards decided just to give up? Like, nothing's going to work for me. You start having those thoughts. And then when I thought I found somebody dumb enough to marry me, that's where that thought come up. Because as a child, it was in my mind. I made the decision that all I was ever good enough was for sex. I wasn't good enough to have a business. I wasn't good enough to be a mom. I wasn't good enough to have what other people have. So when I struggled with those thoughts, then my son Miracle was born after my miscarriage, because I'm like, well, God didn't want me to have kids. He wanted everybody else to, but not me. Then I had Miracle. Then he was taken without court orders or proof, 4 days old from me. And then I had to choose between killing my son, Jeffrey. That's what abortion is. It's murder. Or he would just be taken because of my open CPS case. Those are the only two options I was given. I didn't do either one. I deserve better. And my God, my kids deserve better. I left Minnesota, got the hell out of there. I'm glad I did, because now I've seen it just gone straight down the shitter. Okay? I left my home, my real family, the ones that actually cared about me. And I came here to a place I didn't know. I got a lot of people around me that aren't as friendly as what people in Minnesota generally are, as far as talking to each other and letting you know about different programs. It's not like that here. So I came and I thought, I'm going to make it better. Then Lester was born. And I was so heartbroken with this trauma that happened with my son, happened with all these thoughts, everything that I experienced. And I said, I didn't know what else to do, because there's two people that I used to look up to. I don't anymore. I was going to go drop my son, Lester, off at social services before the 60 days was up. I remember Lester being in the back seat behind me, looking at him, and I just could not, for the life of me, after everything I went through in this damn shitty world, give my baby up, because I love him. I love my babies more than life itself. I'm willing to do anything and everything for my kids, all 5 living children. They're all mine. Adoption don't mean shit to me. I was adopted, by the way. All it is a fucking piece of paper, because children are treated like property in that system. And I know that because I've experienced it both ways, people. So when I dealt with that, I was still broken. I was still hurt. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to die. My kids didn't deserve to have a mommy that was having all these problems. My kids didn't deserve that. They deserved better. I deserved better. So instead of turning to drugs, instead of turning to alcohol, I'm not saying people that do that are bad. I'm saying they didn't know, but they didn't know. They didn't have the resources within themselves. They weren't taught those resources to keep finding something better. So they resort to these different things. I resorted to saying, I need better for my kids. My kids deserve this. I went and I decided, you know what? I'm in direct sales industry, MLMs. I decided that enough was enough was enough. I experienced hypnosis for the very first time as a group. You can do group relaxation for hypnosis and it works. I experienced a group hypnosis. When I got out of that group hypnosis session, and yes, that person went to a college for it, but not the same one I did. When I experienced that for the first time in my life, I felt alive. I felt hope. I felt like I could do anything. Like my doors of possibility of having this amazing life still existed. I just didn't know how to get there. So that's why I went to a 4-day training in Las Vegas in August 2018. I went, didn't get the certification, which is fine. I found better. I found the college, the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, the nation's only accredited college of hypnotherapy. I went. I was still dealing with a lot, oh my God, a lot of trauma, beliefs, and everything. I dealt with it. And I still deal with some of it. And that's why I'm like, you know what? If I got to make an example out of anybody, I'm making an example out of myself to show everybody that it is possible. You can have anything you put your mind to. I would have never imagined that the mindset that I had in Minnesota of feeling so bad about myself that all I was a worthless piece of sex object to, oh my God, that is not who I am. I'm the best damn mom. I am the best damn wife. I'm the best damn hypnotherapist that ever fucking existed. And I know damn well I can get you results because I dealt with stuff. I dealt with trauma. So there's nothing you can't tell me in any therapy session with me that you're not going to sit here and say, well, this and this and this. No, we focus on what can you do now? How do you want to feel now? We're not going to sit here and talk about the trauma and expect for it to, we're not doing it. Nip it now. That is not what I do to help people. What I found that helped me, that has helped other people that I've treated for trauma, what helped them was doing the techniques that I have that does work to get them out of that cycle, to allow them to have the abundance that they deserve, to allow them to become the person that they want to become. Nobody with trauma ever wants to sit here and say, oh, I got triggered today and now I can't do anything else. Nobody wants that. Nobody asks for that. But that subconscious mind says, guess what, buddy? You're staying there. And that's why the traditional methods don't work. You can pop all the damn pills you want. You can use all the abuse. You can abuse and use all the damn drugs you want in the world. You can sit there and change your damn body parts into something they're not. I dealt with that identity problem myself because it is an identity problem when you go from, I don't want to do direct sales anymore to, I just want to be a hypnotherapist. That's an identity problem. Or the other identity problem I had was, which boys are better than girls. So did I want to change my body parts? Yeah. But I put my computer, the best computer that ever exists in the entire world. I understand why was because I was being programmed to believe that boys were better, that boys were wanted, that boys could do so much more than girls, that boys had this, boys had that. I was programmed to believe that trash. And it's not true. I was never told how amazing I am. I was never told that women get the better end of sex, just saying. I was never programmed to know my worth. I was never programmed to know my value. I was never told that I could be the best damn mom boss there is. I was never programmed to believe that. I was never programmed to believe any of this stuff. I was programmed what to think about myself. I was programmed what to do for other people. I was programmed to go work for somebody else. And because I couldn't work for somebody else, that there was something wrong with me. And so I needed a disability. I was programmed to believe that I need medication to control my moods. I was never told that if I dealt with the root problem, I would no longer have fibromyalgia. I was never told that if I dealt with my issues, why my body is coming up with these symptoms, that's what it is. It's a symptom of the real problem. Like my hip, okay? Anybody can tell me why my hip, I need a third hip surgery. Okay, I've torn through it 3 times. It was an injury is why that happened. But it's also called a body syndrome because that's a symptom of the underlying problem of what's going on with that hip. Why does it keep tearing? I don't know why it keeps tearing. For me, for all it is, I know it's just like for shits and giggles is why it keeps tearing after it gets surgery. My subconscious knows why it's going to keep tearing. My subconscious knows why I got to hold on to all this excess poundage. My body knows. But all I have up here is the conscious that says, yeah, I want to lose weight. Yeah, it'd be nice. I'm okay with exercise because I can. I'm fine with that. That one I'm okay with. But it's the actual looking at the scale that scares the shit out of me. Because my body right now says, no, it's not happening. So when I have this weight loss program, you wonder why I'm charging so little, actually. I should be charging a hell of a lot more for my program. But you're wondering why. It's because this is like my testing program of, okay, this is how we're going to do it. You get the meetings twice a week, or not twice a week, but twice a month. You get the one-on-one support with me. So we're not talking about your individual problems in a group session. We're not doing that. We're talking about like, what else can we do? So that's why I did this live, because this live was not part of my plans. My plans was to do something else. Actually, I wrote down my content for the month, so I would know. My plan was to talk to people about how we can affect our weight, like what we eat and our energy systems. And yet, this came up. It was gnawing at me saying, hey, we need to talk to people about this trauma. We need to talk to people about what can they do differently. We need to talk to people about why in your therapy, you don't keep talking about the same damn trauma. We don't do that. And why is that? Because I don't want to re-traumatize you. It doesn't make any sense to go there and talk about the same problem every damn time. 45 minutes, you're talking about the same problem. You feel like you're talking to a damn wall. I mean, like, I could talk to the microphone. I could talk to the computer. I mean, like, I talk to all these different things. Get the same results. Okay? Or I can go directly to the root of the problem and say, hey, I've had this issue. I don't need to know what caused it. I don't want to erase your memory. I mean, like, I can, but that experience made you who you are. I could have very well erased the experience with my son. I could have very well erased that whole time, because that's originally why I wanted to do hypnosis after I experienced it. And then I'm like, can you just erase my memory? And then I'm like, I'm going to find out how to erase my memory so I don't have to remember, so I don't have to deal with this anymore. What happened is when I went to college, I found out why it's not ethical to erase my memory. It's because all those memories made me who I am. All those memories make me the better therapist, make me the better trauma specialist, make me the better why I'm more qualified to help you over the traditional therapists that aren't willing to say, hey, I've dealt with this. Because they don't sit there and talk about that. Most people don't even talk about this, which is why it makes me different. Because how many actual coaches, therapists do you see going live on their Facebook sitting there saying they've had this problem and that problem? No, They have a shitload of testimonials, which I have testimonials, but they've got a shitload of them. They just post. And I'm like, okay, great. But what are your problems? What did it take you to get to where you are now? What did you find out? What was your defining moment of, I need to change? How long did it take you to make that change? What did you do to make those changes? That's what I'm educating on. That's what everybody else is not doing. That's what everybody else is like, oh, you're not doing this right. So then the one day I decided, I'm still having some issues off and on. I saw this on Facebook. I'm going to take my camera and move it. Try to get you to see it. Actually, I'll just post it. We'll make it easier that way. I'll just post it. Anyways, it says, you're creating problems again in your head. Stop that. Okay. I printed it off at different places in my office, and I thought, well, what if somebody sees that and then they're thinking, this or that? And I thought, you know what? I really don't care. Because we are constantly creating problems in our head. We're living from yesterday's programming. We're living from our child programming as adults, expecting that we're doing something different, but we're not getting that result. That's why people that have parents that are doctors, why their kids become doctors, because their parents were doctors, so then they become a doctor. Parents that have alcoholics. My adopted dad was an alcoholic. Did I become an alcoholic? Hell no. I don't want nothing to do with that shit. Just saying. You get the two opposites because you see the bad or you see the good and you follow that path. And that's how that works. So in all of this, what I'm teaching, what I'm saying, I was going way over my 30 minutes, by the way, is if you want to be able to deal with trauma, you want to be able to move forward in life, you're stuck, you're hurting, obviously. You can't figure out what's going on, why the traditional stuff doesn't work, why you can pop all these damn pills for a side effect, and it still doesn't work. It's because until you deal with that root cause of why you have it, which I help you figure out what that is and move it, the emotion, and deal with that issue, because your emotions won't kill you. They won't. They just won't. I mean, like, literally, you can have all these emotions come up. They're not going to kill you. I mean, like, you can walk around and feel disappointment all damn day. It's not going to kill you. What will kill you is not allowing that emotion to be free, because that disappointment can lead to cancer. It can lead to heartbreak, heart attack. Not allowing yourself to feel that emotion, as painful as it feels, not allowing yourself to feel that actually causes you to get sick. It creates 95% of all health issues. I said that correctly. 95% of all health issues are directly related to you not choosing to deal with those emotions. They're not meant to hurt you. They're not meant to do anything but say, hey, check engine light, there's something wrong. We need to deal with this. And if we don't, I'm just going to go somewhere silently in your body, and you're going to wonder why one day, why all of a sudden now you feel like you're 80 years old and you're only 20. You're going to wonder why you had a heart attack, why your body decided to start plugging up different areas in your body. They're called blocks for a reason, because you chose not to allow that motion to move free. It's essentially, like I said, not pooping and peeing, not doing that will create problems in your body. You're going to die if you don't do either one. I would know, because I had that sepsis. I went about 12 hours not being able to do either one. And I tell you, I got really sick really fast. And I don't know if it's just because of the surgery that I had just had with my back or not, but I can tell you it was not fun, because I was literally dying because I couldn't do either one because of the surgery I just had and everything else that was going on. That's how I know your body backs up the toxins. Our emotions are the exact same way. Our emotions, they back up. Now you got arthritis. Now you've got cancer. Now you've got this problem. Now you've got that problem. That's part of that trauma that I was talking about. So it doesn't apply just to trauma. This applies to any type of abuse you've ever gone through. It's why we have the problems we have in this world. Because you can change all you want on the outside. You can change all these body parts. You can change who you're with. You can do all these things. But not a single thing you do will matter. Not a single will. Not a single thing you do will matter until you realize the only place you can heal is from within. And how do you do that? By not talking about the problem constantly. By not taking and saying, well, hey, I'll go do this drink or that drink. No. You got to look at your heart and say, hey, what can I focus on that was good today? I'm going to deep breathe through this moment. I'm going to realize that when I open up my eyes, that I am only bringing positive intention into my life. In fact, each and every day that I'm alive, I'm only attracting good into my life. I'm only attracting that which I deserve of abundance, of happiness, of peace, of serenity into my life. And that's one way you can do it. Because when you become aware of the problem, you have to become aware of it first before you see that it's a problem. Because until you see that it's an actual problem, it's not a problem. That's when people say, well, what about the therapy part? Well, your mind's going to keep focusing on that. You're going to keep focusing on it. You're going to keep attracting what you want, what you don't want. You don't want more trauma to happen. You don't want to have these intrusive memories. You don't want to have this keep happening. That's where it's best to see somebody like myself who's already been there, done that. And so you're wondering, like, what did you do then to help this moment of the PTSD? I decided to use this as a perfect example to say, hey, this is why I'm different than the other stuff. This is why I'm different than the other coaches, therapists, and all these other people in the world. This is why I'm different. Because I'm willing to say, hey, I've been there. I've done that. I know what it's like. I know how to help. I use EFT. I use MER. I use hypnosis quite frequently. I use it daily. I do my meditation, which true meditation is there's nobody talking. It's just you, your thoughts alone. And people have trouble with that if they haven't done healing on themselves, because then you start getting in these other voices. Oh, well, you didn't do this. Oh, you were bad for doing this. You don't do it at that point until you get somebody that's helped you work through those problems where you can start having control over the thoughts. Because essentially what happens in hypnosis is you become empowered by controlling the subconscious mind, by controlling your body instead of your body hijacking your nervous system and saying, let's go fight this bear off. Even though there's no bear present, it's bringing up that response of that fight and flight. So my live went extremely long, and I've got a bunch of people calling me or whatever have you on my phone. I really don't care right now because I'm here. I'm present, because that's the best gift I can give anybody is my time and my energy. So when you're thinking you're paying a lot of money for a session, you're really not, because you're getting somebody who's already qualified, somebody who's already been there, done that, who already knows how to get results. In fact, you're getting a lot of how can I use these skills outside of what you're teaching me? I teach you the self-hypnosis. I teach you how to do the tapping, especially on the fly. I teach you how to take and deep breathe correctly through that moment. I teach you how to empower yourself so you can have anything and everything you want. I teach you that freedom to experience the freedom of being your authentic self, not doing what everybody else wants you to do, but what you want to do. I teach you how to find your own voice. So when you complain about, well, $500 is too much per hour, I say it's not enough. I really should be charging like $1,000, but I don't, because I'm that generous that I'm saying, hey, let's just charge a little bit so I can help more people. They get the one-on-one, they get up to 90 minutes, like 60 to 90 minutes. First time it's up to 90 minutes. But I understand if you go over, because I've been there, I've done that. But then I give you the tools to take home and use them. You're getting somebody who has the experience, who's not willing to sit there and say, well, I haven't been through that. No, you're getting somebody who's like, I've been there, I've done that, I understand. And yeah, you're probably wondering, well, I've been through a horrible trauma. Yeah, I haven't had my mom die. I've seen her die. Won't go there. I've had those experiences, okay? But in my worst experience that I've had, I still have empathy for other people and their experiences, because that's part of my gift, is that I can see the good and the bad and why people do what it is that they're doing. I can understand from both sides of the story why people do what they do and how they're doing what they're doing. I understand both sides. I also understand like the root cause of like what's going on with the person. Why are they doing these things? I have that ability. Not everybody does. I also have the ability to hold the vision of seeing you as a person who's already healed. I already have that vision. That's the thing I struggle with people when they come into my office or even online, is I see them better than they see themselves, but they just don't see it yet. So for example, like I see myself speaking, I see myself doing these different things. I see myself being better and bigger than Tony Robbins. I see that. It's just now getting to that point to allow that to happen. So I went a lot longer than what I wanted to. And we got a whole bunch more dings and rings and all that. My whole point was, like I said, it was not to diss the whole thing, because that was not the whole point, even though it appeared that way. What I am saying is this: if you want to keep doing what you've always done and you want to keep getting the same results you've always gotten, then go for it, because it doesn't matter to me. If you want to be able to change and you want to be able to do something different than what you've always gotten, you want better results, you want actual results from a person who actually is qualified to help you, who knows what it's like, who's been in the trenches and has successfully survived a hell of a lot of things and knows that I can get you results, then contact me. And if you still don't, that's okay. I understand. Because until you're wanting to say, hey, this is actual a problem, you can do what you've always done and got what you always got. Me, on the other hand, I'm saying, you know what? I accept I can't help everybody. And for everybody that I can help, that God blesses you and takes care of you and allows you to find somebody who can help you. So thank you for watching. I appreciate your time and your energy as always. Yes, I went long. Yes, I got a lot of other stuff to do. But this is important for me to do to help you understand the cycle of trauma, why it happens, what we can do to fix it is hypnosis, because there's nothing else that will work. Because hypnosis and NLP are the most powerful tools in the world. They're the two most powerful tools in the world: hypnosis and NLP. I have both and so many more skills that can help you get the results that you want, which is why I'm like, hey, let's use myself as an example, because I know I'm not alone on experiencing different things that I've experienced. I know that I'm not alone. And my biggest thing is the weight. A lot of women have the weight, and I understand why. And it doesn't always have to come from trauma. It can come from missing a baby that you miscarried, and that's why you keep on the weight. It's amazing what our mind does to protect us. But sometimes that protection is a little much, and it doesn't work the way that we want it to. So that's why hypnosis is the only way to get it to start doing what you want it to be able to do. So thank you for watching. I appreciate your time and your energy as always, and reach out to me. Thanks.